Mindshare. Today, all we're going to talk about is what is the right fuel and the right time. It was born here at SFuels in collaboration with our partner Endure.IQ, and this video is all about what you can expect in performance outcomes from the right fuel at the right time. Let's share it and get straight into it. At the simplest explanation, we are talking about the right nutrition or the right fuel. Think about energy. It's metabolized best in the body at the right times, meaning the right intensities that can deliver the best possible performance and also health outcomes. We will do a subsequent video on the health outcomes. Today, though, I just want to talk about what you can expect if you get it right on optimizing your metabolism for endurance sport by getting the right fuel at the right time. So let's firstly talk about that, the specificity of what we're talking about. We're not talking about 100-meter sprinting here. We're talking about the other end of the rainbow. This is marathons, Ironmans, long-distance triathlon. This is long-distance cycling, etc. And when you look at those kind of sports, you can explain the performance outcomes just by looking at several of the parameters of an athlete. Most specifically, on the left-hand side in a study in 2017, 50% of the variation of race time outcomes were explainable by their VO2 max, or how much oxygen could be coming into the body, and then secondly, how they were maximally oxidizing fat for fuel. On the right-hand side is a very recent study in 2023 looking at professional cycling teams, and during a multi-day race, looking at the metabolomics, meaning all the metabolites in the blood of what was going on as they went through that racing. And again, the signature that was most correlated to competitive performance outcomes was elevated fatty acid oxidation. Again, this is specific to endurance sport. And that's what we're about at Right Fuel, Right Time between SFuels and Endure.IQ. This is really looking at what are the specific substrates or nutrition or fuel that need to be used at different intensities in order to optimize those different metabolic energy systems in the body. Endure.IQ work on what is the training that improves those specific metabolic energy systems in the body. When these two things come together, the magic can happen. Let's firstly show you, though, what success does not look like. And this is an athlete that at the start of the season had some lab work done to look at how their own body was metabolizing fats and carbohydrates. On the right-hand side, it showed that even the x-axis is wattage or intensity, and as that increased from the left to the right, you can see the dramatic dependency or increase on carbohydrate, the red line, and yet at a very low intensity, fat tapered off very quickly. This means that you are highly dependent on carbohydrate. And of course, the problem with that is we really only have 2 or 3 hours of carbohydrate in reserve in the body, whether that's in the liver or the muscles. So you begin to become very dependent on taking carbohydrates in. Some people can do that. Some people can't do it very well. Gut distress is still the #1 reason for not finishing these races. But there's another side to this, of course, than just using carbohydrates quickly. Even if you can have a gut of iron that can take on a lot of carbohydrates, here's what happens on the left-hand chart. As you begin to increase that carbohydrate, and the bulk of your metabolism is using carbohydrates for your performance, you're generating a lot of lactate. Again, that may be okay for a short run race, but of course, in longer duration endurance exercises, high lactate levels is clearly going to slow you down, if not stop you. So what does it look like when it's done right? Well, this is the case of an athlete we worked with Endure.IQ and SFuels over the years. And on the left-hand side, when they first came in, they were only oxidizing fat at 0.5 gram per minute at 135 watts on the bike. And you can see that as they went from, again, the x-axis shows intensity, that really at even at 150 watts, 50% of their energy was coming from fat and 50% was coming from carbohydrate. Well, this is a problem as you get into longer racing. Think Ironman racing, 8, 9, 10, 11-hour races. Also 50-kilometer, 50-mile, 100-mile races can be 20, 30, 40 hours. And on the right-hand side is the chart that we actually did a test 12 weeks after the left-hand side, and we went from 0.53 grams per minute in this athlete to around a gram a minute in this athlete. On the right-hand side, though, was a few years later where we improved now this athlete to 1.8 grams per minute at over 300 watts. Well, here's what happens then when you translate this into their performance. And I'm going to show you two athletes here that have applied the right fuel, right time methodology to themselves in performance. The left-hand side, Dan Plews, who is the founder of Endure.IQ. He is a performance physiologist, doctor of performance physiology, and he set the world record in Kona for age group in the Ironman World Championship in 2018. You'll see that he also had the fastest run split of the day for age groupers, but there was only 5 professional athletes that had a faster run split than Dan on the day. He ran 2:50.56. The right-hand side is Matt Kerr. This is the same athlete of the data I just showed on the last slide that improved his fat oxidation so dramatically that in 2021, it was actually 2022 because of COVID, he won the world age group world championship in Utah, again, setting the fastest run split for the age groupers on the day. So this is highly trainable to be able to improve your metabolism, use fat for fuel at much higher intensities, have less dependency on carbohydrate, preserve that glycogen for the latter end of the race. And by using much more fat as a percentage of total substrate, your generation of lactate is that much less. Now, where to go to get more information? If you look at there'll be links at the bottom of the video also, but you can use these QR codes with your phone to go to the guides. We have videos at SFuels to tell you how to practically apply the matching of these different fuels to the different training intensities that you need to apply to your training in being a competitive endurance athlete. And Endure.IQ provide the long distance triathlon 101 course. If you hold your phone up to that QR code on the right, you will go straight to that course that will go deep on how to apply the right training and the right fuel for long distance endurance sport and triathlon. That is right fuel, right time. It's how we apply the best nutritional specificity to the best in training specificity. When it comes together, you can have the performance you've been dreaming about. Next week, we'll also spend time on looking at how the right fuel, right time also generates the best in health outcomes for the athlete. Thanks very much for joining Monday Mindshare and finding out what right fuel, right time is all about. I look forward to seeing you in the next session next week. Thanks again. Bye.